Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time for Taroscopes. We're going to be doing the Taroscopes for the sign of Virgo. That's Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, Virgo Rising for the month of January 2025. I do want to point out that in 2025, we have moved into a new vibration. We are in a nine vibration. The nine is associated with endings and beginnings. The nine is the last in the number series, one through nine. And nine is considered the number of humanity. Nine, in fact, they say nine eats itself because we have nine and then we have nine times two is 18, one and eight is nine. Nine times three is 27, two and seven is nine. Nine times four is 36, three and six is nine. And so you can see how that works. The nine is actually a vibration of the Hermit card in the tarot. And you can see the Hermit back there. That's one of my favorite artists, Emily Balavette, the Hermit card there. And if you look over here, we have Bernie Sanders, one of my favorite Virgos. Probably the only Virgo I adore more than Bernie Sanders was my dad. Uh, who was a wonderful, gentle, and helpful man. And so we have Bernie in front of the picture of the Virgo, my Virgo art there. So um, we're gonna look at the astrology first, and then we're gonna do a card reading. I'm gonna use the Thoth deck for Virgo. Woo. And we'll see how that works out, and then do a poll with the Tree of Life Oracle cards. So before we get to that, we're going to jump to the astrology. Um, so I am starting a membership on this channel, and it is going to be, I'm going to have two tiers that I figured out. The base tier is not all that expensive. It's just a way for you to help support my work. And the second tier will have a couple of extra things in it, including bi-monthly deep dives into different things that are happening. One of the things in January, I'm planning on doing a a Mars retrograde presentation, and also a presentation on the changing of the nodes of the moon for a little bit deeper dive, and that'll be for people on the second tier. To sort of expand their knowledge. And so if you want to do that with me, you certainly can. All right, so let's look at, we have Cancer here, but we're going to go to Virgo. So let me just move things ahead here. All right, so we're in Virgo. And of course, Virgo is the sign associated with the Hermit card. So this becomes an especially important year for Virgo, because if one thing Virgo knows how to do, it's separate the wheat from the chaff. What works, what doesn't work, right? It's an analysis. It's a period of analysis. It's also a period of healing. Nine is about letting go and letting God to a certain extent. And so it's about evaluation and release. It's about releasing and letting go, and in within service to new beginnings and what kind of world we want to see in the future. And a lot of that is going to depend on what we decide to keep and what we decide to let go of this year of 2025. So for Virgo, we start with let's look at the sun in Capricorn as we start the month. And it's in your fifth house of creativity and children, self-expression. The sun illuminates, and Capricorn is pretty serious-minded. So there's a serious look at your creations. Perhaps you want to evaluate some of the things that you've created. We also have Mercury, your ruling planet, now direct, starting in the sign of Sagittarius, but quickly moving into Capricorn. Mercury spends most of its time in Capricorn um, and in your fifth house. So Mercury is about details, and Capricorn is about what works and what doesn't work to a certain extent. Um, it's pragmatic and practical. It has an ability to utilize information, so you will be utilizing the information that you receive. And then the end of the month, it moves into um, Aquarius, into that house of health and wellness. And so we have Mercury moving through at least probably 3 houses in your chart, depending on your chart, really. About your chart, this is a general reading for Capricorn. I mean, for excuse me, for Capricorn, um, for Virgo. But if you want a reading for yourself, like specifically for your own chart, that of course would be a private reading, of which I do. I do hour and hour and a half long readings with a combination of numerology, astrology, and Kabbalah. You've seen some of that stuff that I've done on these sort of famous people. Um, and so that's the kind of reading that I do. I do have appointments available. And once those appointments are filled, then I usually decide to open up some more. So if you're interested in something like that during this year, I am available for that. So you just need to go to my website, theseedsoftrandsformation.com, and go to the services page, and you'll see those listed there where you can purchase them. All of them are in person and done over Zoom, and are recorded, so you get to keep them and you can use them as a guide through your year or through your life, depending on what we end up covering in that reading. All right, so the sun then moves into your 6th house of health. In Aquarius, this is a time when you do need to focus on your health. That starts January 19th, just a day before the inauguration, right? Okay. Venus starts the month in Aquarius and then moves into Pisces, spends most of the month in Pisces, moving through that 7th house of yours. This is an opportunity for you to really work some magic in your relationships. A lot of it will have to do with a real appreciation of all the experiences through relationship, with a good dose of forgiveness, but also a good dose of acceptance and realizing the beauty that surrounds you. We do have Mars starting the month retrograde in Leo in your 12th house, which isn't that comfortable. Mars in your 12th house isn't all that comfortable, especially when it's frustrated and going backwards. Mars, especially in Leo, is used to being in charge of things, and as it moves backwards, it's sort of losing control of the vehicle, so to speak. But it moves back into Cancer, and that's going to be moving into your 11th house, and that's your house of groups. Now, I didn't put it in here, but we do have a full moon in Cancer on the 13th. It would sit right here. And that new moon in Cancer is about, I'm sorry, full moon in Cancer is a fruition of the cycle that began on the 30th of December with the new moon in Capricorn. Now, for you, that the end of December, that new moon would have been in your 5th house. The 5th house, of course, is your children, it's your creations, it's your creativity, it's fun. And so you might have some fun come that full moon, but be aware that Mars is retrograde and very close to that full moon. And so there may be some unexpected fluff ups with friends and associates. The 11th house is friends, but also people who are in groups with you. So there could be some group issues come January where not everybody is agreeing and everybody's very emotional. The nodes of the moon are changing in January. The nodes of the moon have been with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra for about 18 months. It spends about 18 point, I think, 6 months in a sign, so about 19 months in 2 signs, right? The North Node is always going to be exactly opposite the South Node. So the North Node being in Aries, we have the South Node in Libra. And over the last 18 months, we've been renegotiating our contracts. We've been seeing what laws, what rules work and what don't, what are actually rules and what actually are just rules we thought were rules, right? But there's also this renegotiation of our relationships, based on our ability, North Node and Aries, to be our true selves. So if you find yourself being your true self and people you're in relationships with are not accepting that in you, it probably has meant in some cases that you've had to let go of those relationships. Now, the North Node in Aries has been moving through your 8th house of relationship. It is a relationship house, and it is a house where, being yourself, you're kind of taking a risk that perhaps you won't be accepted, but it's been necessary. And so you've had to let go of any insecurities that you might have, South Node in Libra in the second house about your own value. Now we're going to have the South Node move into your first house. And so this is about letting go of criticism that doesn't serve you, perhaps, perfectionism that doesn't serve you, while the North Node in Pisces in your house of relationship is asking you to uh, look at your relationships with compassion and healing and forgiveness. Okay. Um, and that's going to be there for 18 point, I want to say 5 or 6 months anyway. So that's going to be, and that's the evolutionary journey. That's the direction that spirit or our evolution is asking us to move towards Pisces. And as it moves into Pisces, Neptune is there. It's going to conjoin Neptune. Eventually, it's going to conjoin Saturn. And so there's a lot of things we're going to be releasing. And of course, and that's happening throughout the year. And of course, we're in a 9 year. So the 9 year is about release. It's also about the creative hand. So the Hermit card is associated with the Hebrew letter Yod, which is the flame. It's just a single flame. And that is, and it's called the creative hand of God. And so we become aware of our co-creative capacity with spirit. And I'm calling this year the year of the lantern because this is the light that we shine. This is a year where we shine our light brighter than ever because it's going to be what moves us through this year to get us to that 10-1 year that starts in 2026 in better stead, I think. So it's going to take a lot of analysis. It's going to take a lot of, which you like, it's going to take a lot of letting go, which you're not that opposed to because you do have the capacity to know what really needs to go and what doesn't. And so you're going to be very busy this year, which is nothing new, right? Virgo. All right. Anything else I want to say? We still have Uranus in the house of truth for you, so you're being exposed to truths perhaps you didn't know about yet or forgot from a past life. I don't know. Jupiter is going to be in that 10th house all month, so there's still expansion. And you're being seen in the larger world in a bigger and bigger way, a more expanded way. That may or may not feel comfortable. Virgo tends to like to sit in the back and do all the stuff like undercover and not necessarily not be responsible, but not seen as the head of whatever it is you're doing. You rather support. Virgo is very much about support, and so that Jupiter in that 10th house can feel a little uncomfortable for you. But of course, Uranus is going to be moving out of Taurus for a little while this year, and Jupiter is then going to be moving into your 11th house when it moves into Cancer. So that doesn't happen until the second sort of half of the year. It's going to ease up. The first half of the year is definitely the most tumultuous. And uh, I think March and April are going to be pivotal for all of us. So we're preparing ourselves for those months ahead. All right. So that's what I want to say with that. Let's stop the share and get to the tarot reading. So I'm using the Thoth deck. I don't know if I've ever used the Thoth. I probably have for Virgo, but let's see what the Thoth deck has to reveal for us for Virgo for the month of January. Oops. All right. We start with justice. So you start the month with a balance. With balance. This could be a legal issue that is a primary in your life. Legal issues. Let's see what's challenging that. Temperance, healing, not getting caught up in extremes. Two very powerful cards to start the reading with. No matter what seems just or unjust, you need to stay on the straight and narrow here. You need to temper your actions. You need to temper, uh, you need to balance work with pleasure here. It's all about balance. It's all about balance and healing for you this month. Let's see what's underneath it. The Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is an energy that wants to bring goodness and love into the world. So at the root of this is a real urge to make the world a better place, to make the world a softer place, to make the world a softer place to land, I guess. Um, but it does kind of require a trial by fire. In the past, we have completion, the Four of Wands. And it's interesting because if you see, we have the Aries symbol, and then we have the dove of peace. So this is actually talking about the completion of the cycle that started with the North Node moving into Aries about 18 months ago. So that whole Aries, North Node, uh, Libra, South Node energy is what you're basing that sense of balance on now, because that was in the past. In the future or in the sky, we have abundance. This is about creative imagination. And so this is a very positive card. You're pregnant with possibility here. Creative visualization. Spirit wants you to visualize the world you want to see, what you want to see happen. It has to start in your intuition first. So if you want to be of service, if you want a softer place for people to land, you have to have a vision for it. In the immediate future, wow, these are powerful cards. This is the Magician. This is about focused intention. Again, focusing on what you want to see. It's so very important that you spend the time focusing on what you want to see and then taking actions from that place. How it's seen from the outside, that you're listening to your inner voice. Wow, these are all major arcanas. This is a powerful time for you, and just in time for the South Node to move into your sign. Your domestic situation looks like you're going to have to maybe chop a few heads, make decisions that may initially seem cold, and like maybe too efficient, but it's really comes from a place of having a higher perspective on something. You're making the right decisions, but it does feel like a decision needs to be made to cut something out of your life, perhaps that uh, will ultimately free you. Hopes and fears, the Princess of Swords. This is kind of the Princess of Swords is a little bit the troublemaker, the spy in the camp, but she's also somebody who fights for the righteousness of things. And so maybe you're fearing that you'll be seen as a troublemaker, but I hope that they'll realize that you're exposing a truth in some way. And let's see the outcome. We have peace here. This could be stalemate, but it can be peace, can be a balance. And so I feel like you get to actually manifest the energy of the first card that came out, which is the balance card, right? Which is also called adjustment in this deck. Uh, but then you actually manifest it at the end of January in a more uh, personal way, because the major arcanas are sort of broad evolutionary energies, and this is very practical. So there is some peace that comes to your home. Let's continue. And there's the Hermit. There's your card, the card of the year, and your card. So you've used all your wisdom to come to a place of balance. Ooh, good month. Good month. Underneath it all, virtue, which you have plenty of, valor, courage, which you also have plenty of, to see through the illusion. To see through the illusion. And then I'll just pull one more, the Princess of Discs. That's a Virgo card. So prepared, protected, aware. I think you'll be able to see through the illusions this month. And that's going to be helpful to a lot of people, not just you. All right. Well, that's what I see, guys. So stay balanced, one foot in front of the other. Focus your intention on what you want to see. And at the end of it, you will be balanced and people will see what you have seen. Use your great analytical powers that you have. Virgos are brilliant. And they're brilliant because they never think they're good enough. So they're always trying to improve. And in that constant search for self-improvement, for improvement of something, they become experts. And they're the people you want to go to because they have figured it out. Thank you, Virgos. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Dad. And of course, all people born in the 60s, the end of the 50s, the very beginning of the 70s, and all of the 60s have Pluto in Virgo. So this is going to be a very powerful year for the Pluto and Virgo generation. Just like last year was a powerful year for the Pluto in Leos. I have picking a Tree of Life Oracle card, and I got the 18th path, the Chariot. Determination, discipline, and concentration. Determination, discipline, and concentration, which is exactly what I said with the reading. So this sort of just brings that forward. All right. I hope you got your rest in December. Excuse me. It's January. You're like right off the what's that called? Right off the blocks. Boom, you're gone. You're going. Of course, and that's what the Chariot is. The Chariot is swift motion. It's also it's called the intelligence of the influence, the house of influence. The house of influence is this is your soul taking on the armor of the personality to get the soul's work done. And it's happening quick. All right, let me read what it says here. The Chariot is always fast. Vroom, vroom. Determination, discipline, and concentration. The path moves between Gebura and Bina, and its astrological sign is Cancer. You are being asked to release energies that help to bring stability, specifically after a difficult time. The Charioteer lets you know that things are moving in the right direction. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Everything's going to be all right. And part and parcel to the fact that you're so willing to work so hard for so many people. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have Virgos in my life. And we all have Virgo in our chart somewhere. I have Virgo. I definitely have Virgo influence with my Mars and Pluto conjuncted Virgo. So I know the Virgo. I know the Virgo and I know how hard we work. So thank you very much for being such hard workers all these years. Even though you don't get the credit you deserve, perhaps you will get it this month. But I'm not sure you care. As long as the work is fulfilling, I think you're happy. All right, guys, have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe if you would. Welcome to my new subscribers. This is a great community of folks. Thank you. My tried and true have walked this path with me for years. It has been an honor to be walking the path with you. As I said, I will be having a membership, 2 levels so far. A lower level, I think that one's going to be about like $5 a month, something like that. And then the second level will probably be closer to 10. But you guys can decide if that's something you want to do. It'll be available to you, and I hope you join. And if you don't, you'll still see me. So you can't get rid of me one way or the other. I love you guys. Take care. Much love. Namaste.